Ram, this is a simple test of just 10 questions which will help you assess your leadership IQ. IQ means intelligence quotient. How much do you know about leadership? By answering these questions, you will be able to judge yourself. Let us see. So, this is a questionnaire compiled by some psychologist and some researcher on leadership. So, let's see. True leaders are born, not made. The answer has to be false. Anyone can become a leader. You can become a leader. Anyone can become a leader. Now, what do you need to become leadership? Okay, the theory is you need to have what is called power basis. Please make a note. Power basis. Power basis. BASES. Now, power is a word which is defined as the ability to influence others. Of course, self-leadership would mean influence yourself. Right? Very often we lack self-leadership. If you can't lead yourself, how can you lead others is a very pertinent question here. Okay? And also additionally, if you cannot be a follower, good follower, you can also not be a good leader someday. So in order to be a great leader, you must be a great follower first. So these are some interesting observations. I am sure you already know quite a lot, but I do not know how you are going to perform on this test. Okay. Let us puncture your pretensions. This test will puncture your pretensions. Pretensions. Pretensions means thinking too much of oneself, feeling that you already know. I know it. This test will puncture your pretensions. Get ready now. True leaders are, what are power bases? Briefly, power bases. One is referent power. REFERENT POWER. Referent power. Remember, there are lots of GRE essay topics on leadership, and you may be having to talk on leadership someday in an interview or a group discussion, jam session, and in GMAT, CAT, SAT, everywhere you will find topics on leadership. Okay, so it is necessary for us to get some clarity on these topics. Okay, so power basis, referent power, REFERENT, referent power, which can also be called charismatic power, but there is a slight difference. Charismatic power, some people are very charismatic, and charisma has a mostly racial basis. For example, Chinese would admire a Chinese film star or a Chinese leader. They would not perhaps find something admirable in an African leader. So African leaders, African people will admire somebody from their own race. So Americans would not admire an Indian, Bharatiya. So there is a certain amount of race involved. Of course, some great leaders are capable of transcending that too. So charismatic power is something either you have it or you don't have it. But what is the next nearest thing closest to charismatic power? That is called referent power. REFERENT, referent power, which means what you wear, how you walk, how you behave, your facial expression, your mannerisms, your choice of words, your vocabulary, the status symbols that you carry, the pen that you carry, the laptop or whatever, everything about you. If it is very attractive and people like to follow you, then it means that you have great referent power. Next, knowledge power or expertise power, that I don't have to explain. Third, political power, that means connections, how many people you know. In case if you cannot yourself help somebody achieve something, if you can get someone else to do it for that person, so this person will become your follower. Why do people follow anybody is another interesting, important question. People would follow you if they think and feel that through you they can achieve what they by themselves are not able to achieve. This is the secret of leadership. If you want somebody to follow you, you have to first know what that person wants and then think of how you can arrange it in such a way that that person gets what he wants. Either you give it or get someone else to give it, So then what happens is the person will be obliged, and so he will follow you. So it is to be a good leader, to be any leader for that matter, you must definitely have a personal one-to-one relationship with every follower. If you can do that, and if you should delve into what they want and try to make sure that their wants are met. That is how leaders are born. That is what a true leader is. Okay. So power basis, we talked about charismatic power, referent power, expertise power, political power, and then coercive power. COERCIV. Coercion means force. Force. Now, if people are scared of you, that is good. Because, for example, a lion, we are scared of a lion. The lion does not threaten, its presence itself is sufficient. So if you grow into such a powerful person physically, intellectually, politically, culturally, then people will remain subdued in your presence. But of course, you should encourage dissent. You should have at least a couple of people who will function as the devil's advocate, whose job is to question you all the time, so that if there are any loopholes in your policies, they can be corrected. Black hat thinkers and devil's advocates are essential in every group. If you want to be a great leader, you must ensure that in your group there is at least one or two persons who will question you, attack you, impugn you, find faults with your policies. Such people are very essential, because most of the time people would like to praise you to score some brownie points or get some favors out of you. So coercive power means the power to threaten. Coercive power. And then reward power. Are you in a position to reward your follower? You don't have to spend money. Actually, the most effective rewards are intrinsic rewards. Genuinely acknowledge people, genuinely compliment them for things which they are good at. Insincere compliments are worse than insults, so please don't do that. So now we discuss charismatic power, referent power, which you can call as one set. There is a slight difference, I explained that. Political power, expert power, coercive power, and now we talked about reward power, and you can add one more, legitimate power. Legitimate power, which means if you occupy a particular post, suppose you are a manager or a principal or a director or a circle inspector, then people will listen to you. If you are an SI also, people will listen to you. If you are an inspector of police, because you have a post, a designation, an official post, you have what is called legitimate power. So legitimate power means having an authoritative position in a hierarchy. Legitimate power has another definition too. Legitimate power can also mean if the people perceive you to be capable of taking the leadership post, irrespective of whether you have been given that designation or not, then you have legitimate power. For example, in the Indian cricket team, say Kuldeep is an excellent leg spinner. But would you be happy if I suggest he should be made the captain? No. Because you feel that he is a great bowler, excellent bowler. But somehow you feel there are so many other things that have to fall into place. Can he replace Rohit Sharma as captain? No. So Rohit Sharma has legitimacy, has legitimate power because he is the captain. He has already been nominated. It may be possible that, let us say, we appoint Pappu, your Rahul Gandhi, to the post of the captain of the Indian cricket team. He will not enjoy any legitimate power, which means he has the post, but we don't respect him because we know he doesn't know how to bat. So I think you understood the concept of legitimate power. So, and power is something that you have to acquire by your own effort. Power cannot be given to you by anybody. Either you acquire it or you will not acquire it. Authority, legitimate power, like I said, legitimate power has two definitions. The first one is, do you have a designation in the hierarchy? If you are a CEO or a manager or a vice president, then you enjoy legitimate power. That means authority can be conferred. Only one power can be conferred on you by an organization. But if you lack the ability to perform at that level, then people will lose respect for you. If you are simply sitting in the post of a manager, or if you are a professor, HOD, but you don't know the subject, no student is going to respect you. Okay, so we talked about power bases. So please remember all the power bases. I'll quickly list them out for you so that you can write down. Charismatic power, referent power, which is the most closest to charismatic. Even if you are not very handsome or whatever, if you develop certain qualities which I described earlier, the way you walk, the choice of words, the expression that you wear, how lively, how charming, how lively are you? Are you the person who people want to meet because you are capable of giving them good compliments and make them feel good about themselves? So all these, the dress you wear, if you dress shabbily, then if you wear torn jeans, then you look like a bloody street rag picker, ragamuffin. Many young people think that they have to imitate American fashions. They look like idiots actually. They cannot go to an interview like that. They'll be kicked out. So, charismatic power, referent power, expert power or knowledge power, and then coercive power, reward power, political power. So, we discussed 7. So, you have to acquire power. True leaders are born, not made? No. Anyone can become a leader. You have to acquire knowledge. If you are good in all the bases, which is again a almost impossible thing. If you are capable of enhancing some of your power bases at least, then you can sit in the hot seat. Okay. Next, if I take on a leadership role, I'll improve my popularity. No. The answer has to be false. Because there will be many people who will hate you and they will be jealous because you have got to the post. So leadership is not a popularity contest. In fact, maybe prior to having taken the post of the leader, you may have not had any enemies. Now you will have enemies. Once you are given a post, or if you take a leadership position, you will also find people oppose you. So you will have enemies and people who will disapprove of almost everything that you do. So your popularity need not improve. In fact, it might go down too, because you will have fresh enemies. The very best leaders know the value of keeping a low profile. No, wrong. The answer has to be false. Now, what is the meaning of the phrase low profile? Now, we all know keeping a low profile means not interacting with people, being quiet, like Manmohan Singh was there. So we all know that he was a rubber stamp. He was a milk toast. MILQUETOAST. It's a GRE word. Milk toast. MILQUETOAST. Milk toast. Wimpy. WIMPY. Pushover. PUSHOVER. That means a spineless fellow who can be, kicked around and who would not mind also. So that means he is a weak-willed person. His willpower is very weak. If you ask him to stand up, he will stand. If you ask him to sit down on the floor, he will sit down. So that kind of a spineless fellow is called a milk toast, wimpy, pushover. So low profile, keeping a low profile is not good. In fact, in management colleges, in MBA, you have also a theory called MBWA, management by walking around. If you are a pen pusher sitting in your office behind closed doors, you can't be a leader. You have to constantly be on the shop floor, meeting people, talking to people, advising them, taking their advice, collecting opinions, giving compliments. Leadership has to have a personal touch. So you should keep a high profile in the sense that you must be visible. You must be a visible leader. Right? So don't keep a low profile. Find ways to gain visibility. So again, know the value of keeping a low profile? No. Know the value of keeping a low profile? False. You should not keep any such thing as a low profile. You should be visible all the time. Okay. To what extent you can be, that's up to you. If you usually get along well with those in charge, you will probably be a good leader. True. because even the worst leader has something we can learn from. So that's a simple, natural, positive attitude toward leadership. There might be terrible leaders, but even from these negative characters, there's something we can learn. The best leaders always know what to do. False. See, if you look at our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has a team of advisors who are much more qualified and much more intelligent than him. And he gets constant inputs from this team. That is why he is actually, in the end, more intelligent than all of them. Please surround yourself with people who are more intelligent than you. Normally, we like to surround ourselves with people who are less intelligent than us, so that by comparison, we will look better. Even girls, you will find girls befriend other girls who are not as good looking as them. Why? So that in a group, they will be more prominent and their beauty will become more observed. So this is natural. You can observe girls how they behave. So please don't do that. And remember, the best leaders does not mean he's God or omniscient. There are so many things a leader may not know. So he has to find and associate and keep in his team people who continuously augment his knowledge. So for example, suppose there is a task. Let us say there is X task and my skills are not in this X. So I have to get somebody who is good at X into my team. So that's how it is. The best leader always know what to do? No. Best leaders will find out from others what to know what to do if they don't know. An effective leader must try to maintain a forceful personality? No. False. You don't have to have a forceful personality. Right? Anyway, I think I don't want to explain that. You don't have to do dadagiri, domination, no domineering, no imperiousness, bullying, browbeating people. No. That's not necessary. In fact, it will backfire. My physical appearance has little or nothing to do with becoming a leader. True. In fact, some of the great leaders were very short people. Right? Napoleon was very short. Shivaji was barely 5'10". Shivaji was probably shorter than 5'10". Anyway, so size has got nothing to do. I prefer reading fiction to non-fiction. False. You should read non-fiction. See, if you are in the habit of reading non-fiction, which means economics, history, language, culture, religion, then you will be in a better position to deal with people. If you are reading Harry Potter, maybe Harry Potter has some ideas which will enhance your leadership, but Harry Potter is for kids. Come on, it's all fantasy. So if you are going on reading fiction, that's not a smart thing to do. I usually stick to my decision even when it is unpopular. False. Leadership, you are not a dictator. Hello. A true leader will never be a dictator. If your decision is unpopular, you will try to educate people, generate awareness, generate consensus. So you have to generate consensus. Sarva sammati. Consensus means agreement among a large number of people. Otherwise, you cannot implement your decision. If everyone agrees to something, then implementation of that plan becomes very easy. Right? So if your decision is unpopular, you have to start a debate and discuss and generate awareness and bring about a consensus. Otherwise, you have failed as a leader. That means your communication skills are so poor that you are not able to convince the people. 10th, being a quick decision maker is an important trait of a good leader. False. It's not how fast you take a decision, it is whether you take the right decision. And the right decision would obviously mean a lot of discussion. You have to kick about the topic, kick around the topic, debate thoroughly and get people to agree with you and agree with the policy decisions. And only in an emergency you may have to take a quick decision. Suppose a plane is landing, the pilot cannot call for a group discussion there, right? Suppose there is a sudden attack, and you are a soldier, or maybe you are there in a group of people, so you take over the leadership position. There is no question of having a debate there. Only in an emergency, quick decision making is essential. in the normal course of events, it's not how fast you decide, but whether you have taken the right decision. Right, even after you take a lot of time, you could still take a bad decision, but you must definitely make an effort to brainstorm. Brainstorming session. Brainstorming means generating ideas. Invite even the lowest paid employee, the class 4 employee, and throw the question to them and encourage people to come up with ideas. However wild the idea might be, one rule of a brainstorming session is not to ridicule, not to laugh down people, because you never know what looks like a ridiculous solution might ultimately prove to be the best. Therefore, you must constantly brainstorm. Right? So I think we have learnt a few things about leadership. Jai Shri Ram.